Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity in Naperville. I'm Kitty Benson. I bet you know me here, but some of you watching online might see me for the first time, and there's some here that may not know me yet. So I'm grateful to be serving as a minister here at Unity in Naperville with our fabulous band, Highest Good. Let's give them some love this morning. For those of you who were here last week, thank you so much to Mcfadden. And prior to that, Reverend Mary Spear for filling in while I had some things to do down at Unity Village, and always such a joy to come back home. Thank you for being here this morning and joining us whatever day of the week that you're watching. And one of the things that we do, we've learned in so many ways how singing and singing words of spiritual truth empower us throughout the week. How many of you can actually go home and sing a song after Sunday service? Yeah. Or it sings you. It just kind of shows up and it's like, I can't stop singing this song. So thanks everybody for opening your spirit to these beautiful words. Let's sing. Stand as you're able or stay seated, whatever feels good.
Good morning, everyone. Let's sing together.
A drop in the ocean, I am all the ocean in a drop. I am not a drop in the ocean, I am all the ocean in a drop. And God and I are one. This drop is the ocean. That's it. Let's swim in that expanse. I am not a drop in the ocean, I am all the ocean in a drop. I am not a drop in the ocean, I am all the ocean in a drop. And God and I are one. This drop is the ocean. Here we go. Oh, 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 ocean. Oh, back to that verse. I am not a drop in the ocean, I am all the ocean in a drop. I am not a drop in the ocean, I am all the ocean in a drop. And God and I are one. This drop is the ocean. Let's just swim a little bit. Let's just swim in that a little bit, right? In that presence, in that space, we are spirit. And as spirit, we allow all to move in and as and through us.
Ready? Nothing from me, it is done as I believe. I declare
nothing from me. It is done as I believe. Let's take that up. Oh, Spirit, withholds nothing from me. Spirit, withholds nothing from me. Spirit, withholds nothing from me. It is done as I believe. I declare joy that you're like a fountain. I declare peace, peace like a river. I declare faith, faith to move mountains. It is done as I believe. Come on, Spirit, withholds nothing from me. Yeah, Spirit, withholds nothing from me. Spirit, withholds nothing from me. It is done as I believe. It is done as I believe. It is done as I believe. Woo! As I believe.
Oh, good to have the gang back, right? Good to hear from our loved ones. Will you join me in prayer, please? Ah, loving Spirit. We keep our mind and our heart on the divine presence, the fullness of life, the joy and adventure of life. Grateful to know that every breath we breathe, every thought we think is our opportunity to reveal this divine life. We give thanks that we have the power to say yes to life, to let it be all that it is in us, through us, and as us. So grateful, God, and so it is. Amen. Will you help me speak our invocation? The words are up here on the screen. Together? There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Thank you. You may be seated.
Holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. Spirit divine, come to me. Healing love, healing me, and open my heart, allow me to see beauty and love lives in me. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy,
always, always know that. Yes. Even on our worst days, I am holy, holy, holy. Maybe you don't know that for the last couple of weeks I've been at Unity Village, and the last half of my trip there was to be part of the Fillmore Festival. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore are our co-founders of Unity, and they both had healing stories, but Charles had a little bit of an interesting thought about life. He was looking forward to never dying. He had the thought that Jesus' demonstration of returning from the dead was something that we all should be able to do. And he called it regeneration of the body. And he really got started on that little path when he was probably in his late 40s. And I just wanted to share a little bit of what he said about that. There's lots of books written by Charles Fillmore and also about, this is the Spiritual Journey of Charles Fillmore by Neil Vahle, V-A-H-L-E. So here's what Charles Fillmore said. He said, about 3 years ago, the belief in old age began to take hold of me. I was nearing the half-century mark. I began to get wrinkled and gray. My knees tottered, and a great weakness came over me. I did not discern the cause at once, but I found in my dreams I was associating with old people. Go figure. It gradually dawned on me that I was coming into this phase of race belief, as in the human race belief. Then I went to work with a vim. Now remember, he's writing this in the early 1900s. I went to work with a vim. I repudiated the whole world of old age and decrepitude. I denied them any place in my mentality. I spent hours and hours silently affirming my unity with the infinite energy of the one true God. I absolutely refused to sympathize with old people in any way. I associated with the young. I danced with the boys. We sang hunting songs, and for a time, I took on the thoughtless kid. I switched the old age current of thought. And then I went deep down within my body and talked to the inner life centers. I told them with firmness and decision that I should never submit to the old age devil, that I was determined never to give in, and that they might just as well give up first as last. Gradually, I felt a new life current coming up from the life center. It was a faint little stream at first. I've got some statistics up here for you. That was in the 1890s. Then, if you look at the statistics in 2019, we're up to 54 million people living over the age of 65, and they're predicting in 2060 that the lifespan of a man will be up to 86 years and a woman 92 years. But it's even more important as we look at this thing about aging to pay less attention to the chronological years on the calendar and more attention to our biological years, which is how the body's actually behaving. Because though you can be 60 on the calendar, your body can behave as a 50-year-old or a 70-year-old. I think we've probably had those moments where we felt young again and older than our years. We know what that's like. And they've discovered that the number one cause of aging more rapidly is stress. It can cause anxiety and depression and heart disease and diabetes. And that stress is something that slows down the vibration of life in our body. We get out of communication with the spiritual intelligence trying to guide ourselves. But if you're able to score high on self-control and regulate your emotions, you tend to become immune to stress and the ravages that it has on us. So those types of people live in habits of meditation and prayer. They look for ways to be inspired in their life. They express compassion to other people. They try and stay focused in the now moment. People who tend to live longer are people who know how to, in a stressful moment, stop and get present and maybe count your breaths. You know, I still remember this old movie. Was it Life with Father? I can't really remember. He comes down and almost trips over a roller skate. Now remember your blood pressure, Claire. Count to 10. So that was, even back then, a good thing to do, to lower our stress level, count your breaths, and also pay attention to your thoughts. Because your thoughts have so much to do with how your body ages. And most of us are unaware of that. There is a collective consciousness that tends to have one of the strongest influences on us when we think about getting old. It's just kind of in the ethers, it's in the commercials, it's in all the drug ads, it seems to be everywhere. That when you get to a certain age, you should expect to start aging. And it's weird because historically, probably before any of us were born, elders were held in high esteem. Have you ever studied that culture? Elders were held in high esteem. They were seen as leaders and judges and instructors and sages. And then when we got into the Industrial Revolution and the technology age, it seems that elders just became old people who were out of touch. And they became disempowered, really, by society. Now, I have to say that in these last decades, you've seen people living longer due mostly to what? Science? Yes. They've got better drugs now. So we do tend to live longer. And so people are retiring at a later age, right? But for the most part, I would say that the collective consciousness still sees aging beyond 65, let's say, since that's what Social Security kind of says is the day, the year that you start becoming that old thing. I'm just saying. It seems to be dominating the collective consciousness. And all the while, the years are really not our problem. Our main problem with aging has to do with our belief about our years, our view of what getting old means. So if you were to ask the mainstream how to describe, that senior person past 65, they'd say gray, wrinkled, feeble, dementia, slow, out of touch, closed-minded, set in their ways. Does any of that sound familiar? And I got to say, even for ourselves, we tend to look at our future in similar ways where our functionality and our health will start to diminish, and we start to imagine ourselves living a lonely life or an inactive life, losing our purpose. For those of us who spend a good portion of our life with a career, we let that determine our identity. And so when you step out of that, you wonder, what is there left to live for? Or you've been parenting children who have now grown, moved on, had their own children, are more focused on themselves. What is our purpose at some point? I think all of us have probably had those types of concerns. And I would say that no matter what the concern is, they tend to fall under a couple of categories. One is fearing how our quality of life will be reduced, and also just fearing that our life will come to an end. And the commonality in those two fears is the word life. So that's where I want to start today in our series on aging with spirit, aging as a spiritual being, and looking just at that perception and that principle of what life really is. If you look at life, it can tend to be, have a lot of different definitions. We talk about, the quality of life. We also talk about the life in our bodies. So we're going to look also at our spiritual life and how it's involved. But if we begin with the physical life in the body, which is the thing that we're trying to protect and to strengthen and to lengthen, I want you to first of all see it not as a thing, as a noun, but life is actually a process. It would be hard for you to take life out of the body and say, here, this is what it looks like, right? It's microscopic, if you were going to see its activity, but it's activity, really. The power of life in the body is creating, it's renewing, it's transforming, it's activating and animating. And it starts, we think life begins in the cells, but the cells are made up of action too. The cells have all those little teeny tiny atoms and subatomic particles, and they're all swirling around in there, but under the microscope, they look like mostly space, 99.9% space. As a matter of fact, they define the atom as just information and energy. Where's the matter in that? So technically, our body is mostly space, and this is where spirit comes in. When we say, how does this non-stuff form life or form a body, we have to look too at the spiritual life that's inherent in all that space, that I think is that space. And that spiritual life is what I think the book of Acts is talking about when it says, in God we live and move and have our being. Just, you know what? If that were the only thing that you learned from this whole series, let that be something that you keep in mind. In God I live and move and have my being. Will you say that with me? In God I live and move and have my being. And Paul wrote to the Corinthians too. One of the things he said was, don't lose heart. Even though our outer nature is wasting away, our inner nature is being renewed day by day. The inner nature is that presence of divine life in us. It is forever and eternal. And whether it's in the body or out of the body, it's you, and it's going on. There's no stopping it. So if this physical life is empowered by spiritual life, then why do you think the body has to age? Charles didn't think it had to age. He was working on changing that. But there's other people as well. I came across an article years ago. I think the magazine was called What is Enlightenment, which they're not publishing any longer. But Peter Ragnar was the subject. And he wouldn't tell us his age. He felt like that was like using a weapon against ourselves to keep track of your age. But rumor had it he was somewhere in his 70s. And at the time, he had just kind of stepped out of a life of living in nature, out in the wilderness, in the forest, and living a very healthy life. He was a human scientist. He studied both human life and nature around him and how they could live in a symbiotic relationship. And he even talked about he had an outhouse instead of plumbing. And he remembers going out one night and sitting in the outhouse, and a fox came up to him, and they had a conversation. So he was that kind of guy, just kind of plugged into the universe around him. And when he came into the mainstream and everybody heard more about him, he was writing some books, and one of the things you'd see him do is lift these gigantic weights at the gym when he was probably in his mid-70s at the time, and that was 20 or 30 years ago. So he really had a vision for life that was different than most. And here's how he described it. He said, if we're conscious enough, we can make anything happen in our body. It's simple to see how people kill their bodies with their thoughts, unaware of their causes and effects. If we're conscious of our thoughts, I mean luminously conscious of our thoughts, those thoughts then impregnate the cellular structure of our body. And when you have an abundance of life force inside you, it pours out of your eyes. It comes out of the palms of your hands as heat, as healing heat. It radiates as if you swallowed the sun, and you are different. Now, with that type of dynamic and powerful energy inside of you, how can you die? I noticed that his website, he's pretty much said, my wife and I have decided that we're ready to kind of disengage from society and go back into some quiet solitude. So you can't really track him down anymore to see what he's up to. But I'd like to think he's still out there talking to the foxes and sending out light. I also met a man by the name of Ken when I was in seminary. And he came into our class one day to tell us that he died. He had multiple sclerosis. His body came to the point where he couldn't move, he couldn't speak, he couldn't swallow. He finally left his body and realized that body was not him. It never was him. That all the time that he was having those experiences of MS, he was actually a light being, and he was able to see his light being, see loved ones around him that were beings of light. And when he understood that, he realized he could be that light being while in the body. So he was given a choice, and he chose to come back. He came back, and although he wasn't completely healed when he got into the body, hardly at all, there was enough there for him to hang on to. And what did he do? He used his thoughts and his memory to visualize himself as he knew he was. He started to bring his light body forward until it began to renew the physical body, until he was now standing in our classroom telling us his story, functioning, has a job. So when we start to realize that our physical life is never separate from our spiritual life, that is what we want to keep our attention on, is the spirit within us, that which is eternal, that which is continually revealing the fullness of God in us. And there's more to this life than just the physical part that's shining in our bodies. There's also how we live life, how we see life. It's the quality of how we're living. And this happens moment by moment in our experiences. Just think about the last week that you've had. What was your experience of life? I had the joy of officiating at a wedding yesterday. Actually, it was the daughter of our drummer, Mark, which is why he's not here today. And I do everything I can to help the bride and groom be conscious to this experience that's happening right now, because otherwise we tend to leave our body in a big situation like that, right? So just before he and I walked together down the aisle, we did not get married. It was before the wedding. So yeah, he and I walked. I didn't run off with the groom. We walked down the aisle. I turned to him and I said, I dare you to be present in the moment. And as we walked down the aisle, I said, do you know any of these people? Look at them. Who do you see? Who do you know? Oh, I know all of them. He said, yeah. And then we got up front, and I continued to encourage them both to just kind of be here and now. These are the moments that are so precious. And it's so easy to get up and above them, or down and below them, or way forward in the future fearing something. Will you be present in this moment and raise the quality of your life? Because your consciousness, your thoughts, your choices are to either regenerate your life in any given moment or degenerate your life. And we all know what that feels like. We regenerate it when we encourage ourselves, when we speak of the strength that we have within us, when we use our faith to look beyond the circumstances. And we degenerate it when we criticize ourselves, when we predict the worst for our future, when we live in fear of the future. So the scriptures say that we've been given life or death. Choose life in every moment. It's easy to look at the circumstances as you age and begin to get hopeless and fearful, or you can choose to put your thoughts on God, to keep your mind on God, to see God in all circumstances. This is from Jesus in Matthew 6:22. He said, the eye is the lamp of the body. And if your eye is sound, your whole body will be full of light. So think of that. How do you perceive life? Is it sound? Is it based on spiritual truth? If so, everything that happens within and without is filled with light, with truth. And that's our choice. So keep in mind that whatever birthday you're celebrating, you might just want to stop using the number. Just celebrate the fact that you are here experiencing this joy of life. because the number has no power over you unless you give it power. Keep in mind that whether you're working or not, whether you're getting paid for something, you're going somewhere every day to do something for someone, has no power over you. It's who you want to be in every day and year of your life. And that's something that you get to choose. You can actually direct the power of life in the body by directing your thoughts and filling those thoughts with some of your other spiritual qualities, like wisdom, or letting that divine intelligence flow through you, so that when you get to those moments where age might become an obstacle for you, you go within and say, Spirit, what is mine to do here? You know, it's not like we have to be Superman through the rest of our life, Wonder Woman. It's simply, who do I want to be? What feels good right now? What is my higher self telling me to be in this moment? When it's something that you're faced with, a diagnosis of some kind, what does your faith say? Can it look past this circumstance? It isn't that you may not have to go through it, but can you maintain a picture of what power is working with you and through you as you go through it? That's what we want to put our faith in. We also have a power of strength. So when we start to feel weak or like we can't, we just speak into that power of strength to free itself in us. Start with your first thought in the morning, affirming strength in the body and all that's on your calendar for today. You can use your power of love, which is the power that attracts good to you. You know, many of us are worried that we'll wind up alone, that no one will be there to associate with us or care for us if we need it. So use that power of love, not only as a vessel for love that you send out into the world, freeing that energy of compassion, but also expecting it to come into your life, to harmonize things in your life. Use your power of imagination to picture who you want to be as you continue to age. There's lots of ways that we can move through this period in our life, but we must stay consciously connected to Spirit, to choose to direct thoughts into our body using prayer and meditation, and not just being physically active for the sake of saying, I'm still moving, but actions that express goodness in the world. You know, it's easy at some point. I remember my mom getting to her 80s and 90s and being disappointed that she couldn't do everything that she wanted to do or hear everything that she wanted to hear. And it was like she was seeing her body as the enemy. And I'm just going to encourage you to look at your body as a gift. It is what has allowed you to be in this earthly experience in the first place. When you think about how this body has been carrying you around for however many years you've been, and you're still here, it deserves our love and our praise and our compassion. Think of just the amount of energy that it puts out for us, and it's worthy of our care. So give thanks to it, bless it regularly, empower it with your thoughts, think about life, speak about life. This is your opportunity to reveal the fullness of God in you if you will choose. One of my favorite writers is Eckhart Tolle, and one of the books he wrote was The Power of Now. And he said this, he said, the body that you can see and touch is only a thin, illusory veil. Underneath it lies the invisible inner body, the doorway into being, into life unmanifested. Through the inner body, you are inseparably connected to this unmanifested one life, birthless, deathless, eternally present. Through the inner body, you are forever one with God. So it's kind of like Ken. He knew his oneness with God. He knew the light of his being, bringing it forward. There were several speakers at Unity Village that shared their views of healing, spiritual healing, during the conference. One of which was Reverend Myra Mcfadden. And Myra had a grown daughter who kept nudging her and finally insisting that she go get a colonoscopy. She had no need to, no desire to, but she went for her daughter and found out she had colon cancer, pretty severe. And she shared what she went through in this time of her life, where everything was telling her from the outside, this is pretty serious, and maybe even fatal. And the way that she went through this process was so inspiring. And I had a couple of friends here from Unity that I'm going to ask to come up and share their thoughts. Kim-Char, would you come? And Melinda, would you come? And just share a little bit about what you took away from what Myra shared. Here's a microphone. Oh, look, I've got more than one. Try that one.
Is it on? I'm Melinda, and I guess Kim-Char is bashful. She didn't want to be first. We all know that about her, right? What I took from Myra's story was her husband was kind of like at a distance. He didn't take her to her chemo, and he just like couldn't talk about it at all. And she actually saw that as a gift because so many friends came forward to help her, took her to her chemo, and were there for support. And she and her husband got through this period, and she is living and thriving now. So even in the face of adversity, when you think things are at the worst, there's gifts.
Thank you. You know what? There were a lot of things that struck me about Myra's story. The first was that when she started, it went in a direction I didn't expect, because a lot of people come and they're going to claim their healing and see themselves in the whole this. Not that she didn't do that, but my impression was that she wasn't attached to the outcome. It was interesting. She was not attached to the outcome, but she was attached to spirit and how to be spirit in that process that was unfolding. That was the impression that I got. Her attachment was with spirit, and it allowed her to move through this. And I think she used the words moment by moment, making a choice to be spirit in this moment and all that entails. And it even touches on what you spoke of, Melinda, because her doing that also created this space of allowing other people to be spirit expressing in her life, whether that was driving her to chemo or preparing meals and being that love. And if you know Myra, you get the sense that's kind of, she's like a doer, do. And she's very competent, and she will do everything. And wasn't the type of person who was used to allowing other people to do. But as she allowed herself to be spirit and express as spirit, it put her in a space of allowing other people to be spirit and express as spirit. So it's this beautiful kind of chain of love. So no attachment to a particular healing, but boy, was there a healing going on,
And I think that was the thing that struck me most, was her non-resistance to this and the non-attachment to the outcome, which allowed her to move through it with whether she lives or dies. She was at peace with that. And boy, I think that is so important to hear, because the less we resist the aging process, the more we remain in alignment with our higher self. As soon as we start pushing back about how old we are, our vibration goes down, and we disconnect from that spiritual presence of life and its intelligence that's seeking to keep us vibrant and alive. I'm of the personal belief, not that we're going to live forever, but that we're here as long as our spirit is needing to be here. And when it's completed its work, young or old, the spirit, I think, has the final say about leaving, for the most part. You can, come and see me in the afterlife and tell me whether I was right or wrong about that. But can we move through this process with grace, which is what she used as a word, grace, with just allowing that goodness of God to be the focal point of the process and be uplifted by it? So we have the opportunity to renew. We don't have to focus on surviving or dying. We actually want to be in that middle section, which is living in the present moment and taking from life and giving to life what it has for us. So will you choose life or death? Will you choose power or weakness during this time of our life, which we will all face at some point? Just keep in mind that Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it abundantly. And how that expresses is up to us. I choose life by praising it, by giving thanks to my body and to the ability to live and interact, to grow and to learn. Because everything about life is for the benefit of our soul. And the question is, will we let it be all that it wants to be in us? Something that I probably read on a greeting card one day and copied down up here on the screen. Life is not a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, wow, what a ride. Doesn't that sound like fun? You're in charge of that. You are in charge of that. We have lots of things to talk about in this message series. We're going to talk about the problems that many of us face when we move into the aging, the end of life, health and finances and loneliness and how active we can be, what our identity is. So I hope you'll stay with me in this journey, no matter what your age is, because at some point we face it. And actually, if we learn now in our 20s and 30s how to go through that process, everything that leads up to that last phase of life can be created as a habit in you now, and that is a gift. So let's take some time in the quiet and see if we can't connect with some spiritual thought. Sorry. Let's take a deep breath and release. Do that again. And realize you are breathing the breath of life. Truly, life is breathing you. Take a moment to just marvel at the breath of life that keeps moving through you. Bring your attention inward, deep into the cells of your body. And behold light. Divine light. A light that speaks to the intelligence of your cells. We give thanks for that light that empowers us and uplifts us. We feel that light rising, moving from the inner darkness to the outer expression. A light that feels young. a light that is empowered by love. The everywhere present nature of love that draws your good to you. That brings harmony to all parts of the body. I'm grateful for this love, and I am this love. I allow this divine love to express outward. This loving light is shining through my face, pouring out from my heart, visible in my eyes. All that my eyes look at, feel this presence of loving light. And I am one with all the love of this universe. There is no age in this loving light, only goodness. Only well-being. I am the vehicle for this loving light to live and thrive and express into the world. My life is God life, never separate. My life is God life, always whole. I say yes to life, yes to love, yes to light. I am a forever being. Life never ends for me. I give thanks that my days here, within this physical vessel, are mine to choose. I say yes to life. This is the truth of my being, and now I let it be. Amen. Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is healthy and well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is healthy and well. Yeah. Oh, there's lots of things to do and love in life. Just had to let that out. This is the time in our service we share love and life in another way through our giving. Our tithes and our offerings are just another opportunity to reveal the energy of God, because everything that we give begins as the life energy of spirit. And if you'd like to free that energy in a way that allows not only what unity teaches to continue, but to allow the energy of love to go out into the world and lift it, then I'll invite you to share your offerings today. If you're watching online, you can do that through our website at unityinnaperville.org. There's also a donate button on our Facebook page. And if you'd like to send a check, you can do that to our P.O. Box, which is 9733 in Naperville, 60567. And most importantly, I invite you to free your gifts with love. We know what that power of love can do. Let's affirm that with our offering blessing. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Thank you. Ushers, will you come, please?
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Good morning.
Okay. Hi, I'm Beth Schwartz. I'm here to do your announcements today, and I apologize. My computer wasn't connecting to the printer, so I'll have to read them off my phone. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're glad you're here. If you want to learn more about what's happening here at Unity, you can sign up for our weekly e-news. Comes out every Tuesday for Kiddies Twice Monthly New Thoughts email by going to our homepage at unityinnaperville.org, or you can email admin@unityinnaperville.org. So now, for what's happening at Unity, can our Board of Trustees members please stand? I'm here. Kitty and Diane and Melody. So these board members are here and available after the service if you have any questions. And then for all the rest of these, for details or access to the following events, you can go to our event calendar on the website at unityinnaperville.org. First of all, our good friend Daniel Nahmad is coming. He will be live in concert on Sunday, August 28th, after the service at 12:30. And your tickets are $20. They will include a complimentary light lunch, so you're not rushing out and trying to get back in time. You can purchase your tickets at unityinnaperville.org or visit the info table out front. So treat yourself to the gift of music and bring a friend too. Register now for Reverend Kitty's Your Healing Journey, a series of 3 classes studying healing truths and how to apply them in practical ways. Classes will be offered online Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m., September 6th, 20th, and October 4th, and on site here Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. on September 7th, 21st, and October 5th. So you can get your tickets today. Classes are $20 each or $50 for the series if you register by Sunday, September 4th. Go to the website calendar or the info table to register. Next, save your styrofoam. So this is something we do about 3 times a year. We're going to be doing it now through August 28th. We'll do it again right after Christmas and again right around Earth Day if you want to plan ahead and save your styrofoam. We take it to Dark Container in North Aurora for reprocessing, where they take it and they can make picture frames and deck boards and all kinds of fun things out of it. So if it's been in contact with food, please wash it thoroughly. No plastic wrap, straws, lids, foam insulation, packing peanuts, all of that. If you are available to help deliver the styrofoam to Dark Container on August 28th, you can email admin@unityinnaperville.org, or you can let me know. Tomorrow morning, join us for Monday Morning Metaphysics at 10:30 a.m. Our grief support group will meet tomorrow at 7 p.m. Join the Healing Circle online this Tuesday, August 20th, or is it week from Tuesday, August 23rd at 7 p.m. Reverend Kitty will discuss healing principles and pray for your healing requests. You can also leave requests in the front room or email them to prayer@unityinnaperville.org. Access the Healing Circle through website event calendar. And let's see, a save the date for Unity's annual picnic, Sunday, September 11th. More details will be coming soon. And lastly, our prayer chaplains are available to pray with you by phone after the service. Email your name and phone number to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and a prayer chaplain will call you today by 1 p.m. And again, for details on all of our events, go to unityinnaperville.org. And for questions on those, you can email admin@unityinnaperville.org. Thanks.
Slide for this, but you guys are smart people. I have done a new healing meditation on a flash drive, which you can just plug into your computer and download the file. And it's available out in front. So I'm not sure if you've received the Perfect Life CD, which is also out there, but if you buy both, there's a package deal, or you can just get one or the other. That's now available at the info table. They take credit cards for that. And if you're watching online, how do they get that?
If you are online, you can just go to unity.place, and you can download it from there.
Great, that was easy. So that's out there. There's more info about the Healing Journey class and about the Healing Circle. So lots of focus on well-being. I hope you'll participate in some way. Let's stand as you're able, and we'll have one last song.
Before we sing this last song, I want to shout out to Beth one more time for the announcements and reading the smallest font ever. The smallest font ever I've seen on the platform. And as we sing this song together, I'll shout out the word, that's the dash. And Kevin, will you echo and everyone can sing with you?
I sure will, yes.
Okay, here we go. I've got the light of God in me.
I've got the light of God in me.
I've got everything I need.
I've got everything I need.
I've got it all, I've got it made, I've got it oh so good. And I've got the life of God in me.
I've got the life of God in me.
I've got everything I need.
I've got everything I need.
I've got it all, I've got it made, I've got it oh so good. And I've got the grace of God in me.
Yes, we do if we choose. Yes, yes. Okay, so here's our closing affirmation for today. Just see yourself in any one of those bodies now, right now. Let's say this together. I am an eternal being empowered by divine life. Age is irrelevant. Have a beautiful week this week. Love you guys. Talk to me out front or see you again soon.